Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. My name is Emilie and I am a Higher Education Champion for Take Your Place. My pronouns are she, her, and I am joined today by my lovely friend Danielle Rippengill, and she is here to talk to you today about her experiences as an LGBTQ plus person, both while studying at university and also working as well. So if you want to introduce yourself a bit, Danielle, that would be really great.
Okay, well, hello, my name is Danielle Rippengill. My pronouns are she, her as well. I studied graphic design at Anglia Ruskin Cambridge School of Art in Cambridge, and I did an undergraduate, obviously, in graphic design, and then I continued to do a postgraduate MA in graphic design and typography at the same university. And now I am a middleweight graphic designer at Book Life Publishing, and I'm also an associate lecturer at the Cambridge School of Art, and I've taught on the MA and the BA courses there as well.
Amazing, thank you so much. Right, I'm just going to jump straight into our first questions. Let me just get them up. Okay, so first up, can you just tell us a bit about how you identify and when you came out?
So my experience is, I don't think I ever really announced to anybody that I came out. So when I went to uni, I was in a relationship with a male. So I hadn't really found myself, I don't think, at that time. So when I was at university, I made two really great friends. One of them is my bestest friend in the whole wide world, and she was actually bisexual. And I made a friend, and he now has a husband, but at the time they were boyfriends, so he's gay. And I became friends with them, and I guess it was for a reason, really, but they were really opened my eyes to, I guess, the world. And I think I turned up at university very innocent and naive and not really knowing anything. And university was such a big adventure for me that I didn't live in Cambridge, so I commuted from Kings Lynn. And obviously Kings Lynn is quite a small market town. And I think when I escaped to university, it was my thing, and I really enjoyed it. And I think having them as my friend really opened up my eyes. So when I was in my third year at university, I told my best friend Enya. First of all, she was the first person that ever knew, and she was so supportive. And she still is to this day. She's been amazing through the whole journey. So I didn't ever really come out, I don't think. I told my family and I told my friends that I had a girlfriend. And now I identify as being gay. So it was weird. I think some people don't always know what they identify as. I have friends that are still unsure about it. So I think you just have to find out what best fits you, and if it doesn't fit you, then that's completely fine as well.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Danielle. I think that's really important to say as well, that, you might go into university and you think everyone's got it figured out, but the truth is they probably don't, and university is a place that will let you kind of explore that.
Yeah, I think because I went to an art school, it just felt really safe space and such an accepting place for a variety of diverse students. So I think maybe that encouraged me as well.
That's great to hear. Thank you so much. That's lovely to share that story. I'll move on to the next question, which is, how do you feel the university supported you as an LGBTQ plus person, both during your time and also while working there, because obviously you still work there? So
yeah, I think I struggled a lot with this when I first told my family and my one friend, or a couple of friends at the time. And because I was in my third year, it was such an important year, and I struggled to deal with everything, not because I didn't accept myself. It was just I had a family to obviously deal with. I had the idea of telling my friends, and obviously I was so scared. I was super scared, and I told one of my lecturers, who I actually now work with at university, and he was super supportive. And I was really scared people were going to judge me. I don't know why, but I felt like they had known me for a couple of years as one person, and then suddenly I was someone completely different. But I wasn't. I was still the same person. I'd actually found myself, my honest, true self. So I think that actually was really nice. But the university were great. I actually mitigated all of my modules from the first semester, and I moved them so I didn't have to worry about my dissertation or handing in any work. I also went to student services, and they were really good, and they offered me a set of free counselling. So I had some meetings with a counsellor, and then I got assigned to a specific counsellor, and she was amazing. And I think I had 6 or 8 weeks worth of counselling just to like let out all of my emotions and talk things through. And they obviously supported my mitigation claim as well, and the university accepted it and really sort of helped me through the difficult time. But like I say, it wasn't about accepting myself, it was just kind of dealing with everyone else and my own fears and anxieties, I think, is really the most important thing. And I think that's what happens when you're sort of telling people about this like new relationship that you have. You're really scared that people are going to judge you, and actually they don't. They really, really were supportive. So, and it's exactly the same working there now. I was really scared that I wouldn't get a job for some reason because I was part of the LGBT community. Like, I think that's just a really like fear that people have, is people not accepting them or offering them the same sort of opportunities as other people. But they've been absolutely amazing, and I couldn't have asked for anything more.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And it's great to kind of hear your experiences of using those like university services. Like all of those are completely free. You get that completely free, and they're there for you. Like you're paying for that service essentially as part of your student fees. So make sure you're using them if you need them, like you did. And then obviously it meant that you could
definitely reach out.
Yeah, and you had the time to like focus on yourself a bit and push back your deadlines, which is just absolutely so great to hear.
Yeah, it was, honestly, I would have definitely failed those modules if I hadn't have mitigated. So I was very grateful that they allowed me to do that. So it was really good.
Amazing, thank you. All right, let's go on to the next one, which is, how did going into higher education help you to explore and nurture your identity? So you've already touched on this a little bit with your coming out story, but if you want to go into any more depth, that would be great. Yeah,
I think, just like I said, I come from quite a quiet town, and I think when I went to Cambridge, I don't know, going to university just gave me a whole new life, and I actually never wanted to go to university. It wasn't on my list of things that I wanted to do. I wanted to be a graphic designer, but I didn't want to go to university. It was too overwhelming and daunting for me to even think about it. But when I got there, it was the weirdest experience, but like in the best way possible. So I just really found myself, and I know that sounds really cliche about going to university, but I just think because I was so dead against it when I got there, even though I felt really anxious about being in somewhere new and meeting new people, I just found everyone to be really accepting. And I think it really helped that I met my friends there. And like I say, my best friend, we supported each other all the way through university, and we're still friends now. In fact, she's going to be my maid of honor when I get married. So, you know, I think she did really, really help me. And I think if I hadn't have gone to university, I don't know how I would have found the inner me as such. I don't know how it would have been found or what I would have done. So I think I'm mostly grateful to that experience from university, that I felt safe and able to come out in that situation and sort of really find who I was through exploring like the creative arts. I think really sort of spurred me on.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, and did you feel like, because you met so many fantastic, you know, friends who were members of the LGBTQ community, do you think that kind of opened your eyes to like, oh, okay, they're out and they're happy living their
I actually like, I went to, because I was a student rep for my course, so I used to go to like Manchester and London, and we used to do this, called Design Your Future, and we used to represent the course. And while I was there, I met other people from different courses, so like from the photography course, the fashion course, and I met different people that had different identities, and like I found it so inspiring, and like I was kind of like jealous that they were so confident in themselves and they had accepted themselves. And I think you're right, it definitely opened my eyes, and I realized that if the university has students that identify on different spectrums and are completely diverse, and the same with their employers, like the people that they employ, like the lecturers, they're all like, none of them, do you know what I mean? They're all from like the different parts of the LGBT community. Then I kind of was like, then so can I. Like, I can still dream to be a graphic designer. I can still dream to be a lecturer at university. I can still have exactly the same dreams as what a straight person has. But I think it just took some time to actually realize that those were the possibilities, and that I can still achieve that even when I do come out to people.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much. Very well put, I think. I'll move on to the next question. So this is more of a practical one. So what facilities and provisions are there for LGBTQ students at university? You've touched on these with a few of the services you use. So again, you can go into more detail in that, or any others that you know of that other people have used. That would be great as well.
So like I said, when I was at uni, I didn't join any like LGBT societies, but like I say, my friend who was gay, I know that he did. He joined several different societies and groups that were part of the LGBT community. And I think they used to meet up like once or twice a week, because we would be studying in our computer room, and then he would be like, oh, I'm just going off to my group sort of thing. So I know that he used them and he used to really enjoy it. So, but I think if I had have been out at university, I think I definitely would have. But like, I think at that time, going to a group like that kind of scared me more than anything, and I would have been completely accepted. It was just my own inner anxieties and fears. But there are different like groups of people that you can talk to at university. So it's not just that the student union is also there, and they have a vast array of diverse people. And I think when I was there was actually a person on the student union who was a student rep that was part of the LGBT community. So it was really great to see that representation like so high up. And I know obviously I used the student services, so they would be completely available to everybody who was struggling, or if they needed to talk to anybody. But they're also there as well for like financial sort of advice as well. So if you've got everything going on in your life and it is difficult, then they're there for all of those reasons as well. And it was exactly the same services that I got on the undergraduate course and on my master's course as well. So as soon as you're a student, you can use those services. They're completely free. And I found everyone to be completely supportive of. I think I sat in one of the offices and cried for like 20 minutes at one point, but they were amazing. They were so good. I wouldn't recommend them enough.
Yeah, that's great. And just to say, that's exactly what they're trained for. Like that is what they know how to handle it. They know how to help you. They know where to point you in the direction of.
Yeah.
And they will help you with kind of anything that's going on in your life, kind of regardless of what it's about. You know, they won't, penalise you because you're part of the LGBT.
No, I know. It's just one of those things that I think like, because historically people from the LGBT community are obviously penalised, and I think when you realise that actually you're not, it's kind of like a weight is lifted off your shoulders. So I used to be really scared to tell people, and I think sometimes maybe now I'm a little scared still for like completely brand new people, but I think it comes with you just grow with confidence, and eventually I think like you just forget what other people think, because your happiness is a lot more important than what someone thinks of you.
Yeah, for sure. And like university and those services are safe spaces for you, like, which is definitely a great thing to know. Just it can be scary to go, like you said earlier.
Going to see a counsellor really scared me as well. I was so nervous about it, but actually it was like a revelation. Like I just was able to just sit and talk to somebody, and in that position, that's all you want to do. You want to sit and talk to somebody that doesn't really know you, but they're not making a judgment on you, and you're just able to completely open up to them, and they just help you work through things, which is really, really great.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. It must have been a really hard time for you, so thank you. I'll move on to the next question, which is, as an LGBTQ plus person, how did living at home and studying for your level 3, so that's kind of A levels or BTECs, compare to going to then university to do your undergrad and masters? So obviously you stayed at home, I think, while studying, is that right?
Yeah, I stayed at home. I couldn't afford to live in Cambridge, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, I think the my BTEC, so I actually did 3 A levels, because I didn't know that I wanted to do graphic design until I did my A levels. So I did an A level in media studies, and when I did that, one of the projects was to create a music magazine, and then for some reason that just sort of hit me in the direction of graphic design. But then, at the time, I still didn't want to go to university, so I did 3 A levels, and then I went to the College of West Anglia to study a level 3 extended diploma in graphic design for 2 years. And I think I think both the A levels and your BTEC sort of prepare you for university, but I think university is just a completely different experience. Like, you're so independent, and I think it's so much more rewarding knowing that you're working really, really hard on all these projects, and the opportunities are so vast and open, and they're amazing. You get to work with different companies, and when I did my A-levels and my BTEC, those opportunities just weren't there at that time because there's a smaller establishment. But at the university, I think that's something else. They really open your eyes to the things that you can do in graphic design. So for me, that's when I learned that I wanted to go into children's book publishing.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's great to hear that you didn't take that kind of traditional route. You know, there are other options out there, and even if you change your mind, there's still other options.
I think I did my extended diploma actually to like 110% solidify that I wanted to go into graphic design, because part of me was still like a teeny bit unsure. So, and when I was at school, I wasn't particularly the best student, and I really struggled through school. So I think when I found my feet into something that I really enjoyed, I found that I got my best grades that I ever had when I was enjoying it the most. So I think that's the reason why I ended up going to uni. So yeah, it did really help.
Amazing, thank you. And did you find that the attitudes at, say, college or sixth form, were they different to those at university, or was it all quite a safe space? Didn't feel?
Yeah, it was completely safe. But I think, I don't know, for me personally, I felt better at college, and I felt better even more so at university, just because school for me was just, I had so much going on in my life at the time. I didn't enjoy school. So to get out of school, it had nothing to do with the school. It was just me as a kid. The memories I have there are great, but some of them are not so great. So I think for me to move away from that was really important. And then obviously when I went to university, it just felt like a whole different ball game. Like I felt completely free. Like it was an adventure for me. Like I was getting the train to Cambridge like 3 times a week, and I absolutely loved it. So I think people's attitudes are different at university. I guess the students as well are more committed. They've chosen to be there, and the lecturers, they treat you kind of more like an adult, and like you can actually sit and have a coffee with them, and they do care about your life. They do, like, they get to know you. It's not just a case of like turn up and go home. So I think for me, I just felt so welcomed and accepted at university, more so perhaps than college and sixth form. But I think that's more of a personal reason for me. I don't think it was anything to do with them.
Yeah, that's completely understandable. But again, it kind of depends, doesn't it, where you're at, who your teachers are. But yeah, definitely, it gets safer, and it's all about how you feel. So knowing that you didn't feel great at school, and then saying, okay, I'm going to go to college, and that taking those steps for yourself is really important. So that's great to hear. Where are we up to now? Let's go on to the next question. So how do you feel that what you do in your current role contributes to helping others to explore their identity? So you can talk about this in regards to your children's publishing, or even at the work at the university as well. Okay.
So I'd probably say that in my role as a graphic designer at Book Life Publishing, when I first started there 4.5 years ago, we predominantly did non-fiction books, and they weren't, I don't think, as diverse in fact, no, they definitely weren't as diverse as what they are now. And I think the world is becoming a more accepting and diverse place, and people, I think, are starting to produce more children's books that are inclusive, and so that every child from every background can see themselves in children's books. But I think for me, it's so important to create children's books that every child can see themselves in, whether they are from the LGBT community, whether they are disabled, or whether they're a person of colour. I think that any background that they're from, they need to be able to see themselves from a young age, because I think it's really important for them to identify themselves as well. So mostly since I've been there, I think in my last 2 years, I would say, or 1.5 years of being there, I've been trying to push to create more diverse children's books. And Emilie, as you well know, we've created a children's book together. So our series was called Pride In, and we had 4 titles. It was Pride in Change, Pride in Sports, Pride in the Arts, and Pride in STEM. And Emilie and I have recently won an award for our books with the Accelerated Reader in the children's non-fiction primary category, which was a great honour for us to do that. But this is the kind of boundaries that I want to push. Like, we want to push these boundaries in children's books. I want one child, a million children, however many, just to pick up these books, and to, if they think that they might be gay, or if they think they might be trans, or maybe they're just pansexual or asexual, it doesn't matter. I want them to see people that are successful in the world that they can identify with, so that they know that it doesn't matter where on the spectrum they are. They can see people that are successful and still have the same dreams as what straight people have, because it doesn't matter. Like, with the world, we're a different place now, and I want children to feel that they're safe and accepted and that they can still do all of that. So I think that's how I try and make people, you know, and children more specifically, I think, more accepting as well, with their identities.
Yeah, beautifully put. I think that's really great to say. And I would just say you're a great champion of using your platform. So you have the ability to kind of influence those decisions and being like, why do we have a mum and a dad in this situation? Why don't you mix it up, sort of thing? And I think you're really good at taking those and, you know, running with it and making sure you're making, you know, everyone feel accepted.
So the thing is, it's also like, I think about myself, like if me and my fiance have a child, they're going to have two mums. And like, part of me is kind of terrified about it, but part of me is also, like you said, like championing it, because, well, why not? Like, there is not just black and white anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's completely different nowadays. You don't have to have a mum and a dad. You can, do you know what I mean? You can have a completely different array of families, or even a parent or guardian. Families are not the stereotypical, like, male, female, and you have one boy and one girl. It's, you know, I think that's the representation that is needed more so in children's books now. So I'll always keep pushing for it for as long as I work here.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Great to hear. And where are we at now? Question 8. So what do you think it is important for greater... Sorry, I've done that wrong. Why do you think it is important for greater LGBTQ plus representation in your field of study and the sector you work in? So I guess if we're looking at this from a graphic design point of view, you kind of touched on this a bit, but great to hear.
I think just to make sure that, really, I think as well, it's really good even being a lecturer and being part of the LGBT community, because when I was at university, my lecturers were all straight, but I think, which doesn't matter, but I think it is good to, like, know, we don't even have to know that your lecturer is, but just to know that you're, like, surrounded by people from the LGBT community. I just think that that's reassuring, because I think that if I was a student all over again, I went to a lecturer that I felt the most safe with, and, like, he's a good friend of mine. Like I said, I still work with him now when I'm being an associate lecturer, but I went to him because I thought, like, he would be the most accepting, and he's, like, a bit of a hippie, and he's really cool. So I figured he would be the best person, but I felt like my student to, like, lecturer relationship with him as a friend was just stronger. So, but I think it's good though for students to know, because it means that they can go to those people, or even, like I said about the student union having representatives from the LGBT community. I think it's important because it means that, like, a student that could be struggling or that wants to talk about it can go to those people. So I think it's just always really good to have those people around for students to feel more safer in. But the same with books, like we've just said, I think it's always good to push the boundaries as children's books, because even from a young age, I just think they should be, they listen to what they're taught. So if they're taught that you can have parents or a parent or guardian of any sex or any age and race, then they're taught acceptance, and for me that's the most important thing.
Yeah, amazing, thank you. And I was just going to ask, do you feel like in your course you were taught about graphic designers who kind of are a part of the LGBTQ plus community? Was that kind of talked about? Because I know, because I'm your friend, I know you absolutely love a designer that we used in our book series. So that, I mean, feel free to talk about that. Yeah, Kate.
Yeah, they're amazing. We did. I think we learned about, and I don't know if it was deliberate by the university or if it was just because there are amazing designers out there that are all part of the LGBT community, but we did learn about different designers from different backgrounds, and also designers as well that are from, like, different countries. So some of them are fighting, like, political fights across the other side of the world. And so we actually did learn so much about that. They were included in a lot of the presentations. So a lots of people, not just in this country, I think, which was what was really inspiring at the time. There are things in this country, obviously like the LGBT community, are more accepted than other parts of the world. So we did learn about other designers that were fighting for that in like Russia and different countries. So that was really important. But yeah, I don't know if it was deliberate on their behalf or if they were just really great designers. But yes, we learned, and it was inspiring.
Well, hopefully both. I would say that's
Yeah.
a good reason to be on the course. It sounds like if you're, fighting injustice with your designing, that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I've just got one more question now, and that is, what advice would you give to any LGBTQ plus young people who are considering going to university?
I think my first bit of advice would be to not worry. Like, don't overthink anything or worry about it. I think that a university, I know it can be really scary because it's a brand new place, and especially if you're moving there as well, you feel like you're being thrown into the deep end. You're meeting a whole bunch of new people that you've never met before. But I think university is a really accepting place, and I think that your identity, whether you're happy to tell people or whether you want to keep that in until you know people better, is completely fine. You don't ever have to feel rushed into telling people. So, but just remember that, if you make friends, then they create a safe space for you. So when someone said to me that I was going to meet my lifelong friend at university, I didn't actually ever believe them, but I genuinely have, and I would never live without her now. So I think that's and I think just to embrace it, like, it goes so quickly. 3 years goes ridiculously, crazily fast. So enjoy every single minute that you have. I didn't join societies. So if you have the opportunity and you can, join as many societies and make as many new friends from as many different backgrounds as you possibly can. Like, learn about people, learn about culture. Like, university is full of different cultures. And I think it's such a great opportunity to actually get involved and meet people that you would never have met before from different parts of the world as well. So I think even if you're a little timid and nervous about it, try and push yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit to meet new people, and honestly take any opportunity you possibly can to do anything. So be a student rep for the course, go and join the student union, do representations of your course or the LGBT community, do as much as you can, and help support the people that are like trying to support the students as well, I think is what I would probably give as my advice.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you feel like you can do that, because then for people like you who kind of were still figuring it out even in their third year, you're showing them that it's a safe space for them. So that's great advice.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, Danielle.
Definitely.
Thank you. All right, we'll wrap it up there, but thank you so much for joining today, and we hope you found it really useful, and thank you for Danielle for just sharing some great opinions and experiences.
Thank you, Emily, for doing this. I really hope that this helps up and coming students, so good luck.
Thank you so much, guys. See you later.
Bye.